Hey, welcome to the Trash Picture Show. Today I'm going to be giving an overview on the predator species because of the up and coming Shane Black, The Predator. I have a feeling a lot of the expanded mythology is going to be wiped away thanks to this movie, and I just want to give an overview to a very cool expanded lore that has been in comics, video games, and novels, and has really made me appreciate these guys not just as monsters but as a tribal race. So, what are the predators? The predators are a nomadic tribal race of hunters. They are incredibly formidable and they scour the galaxy looking for the ultimate prey. Now, the predators don't call themselves the predators, they call themselves the Yautja. The Yautja are roughly 7.5 to 8 feet tall, sometimes 8.5 if you look at the bad blood predators, but 8 is the magic number for their height. Their main distinguishing features are their mandible tusks and their dreadlocks. The dreadlocks themselves aren't actually hair, they're more like a fishy membrane. When young predators are being initiated into the clan, this is sliced in a very painful ceremony. If the predators show any sign of weakness or whimper or anything, the entire thing is undone and has to be done all over again. While this might seem very cruel, this is actually a very, very lenient punishment in what is a very martial society. Other aspects about the predator, their blood, it's bioluminescent. Now, whether that's a natural colour or if it's actually it's blood reacting to the oxygen in Earth's atmosphere, it can't really process the Earth's atmosphere that well. Predators themselves don't breathe oxygen as their main kind of source of, of oxygen. They don't have a main kind of breathing apparatus that allows them to do that. The thing they mainly breathe is nitrogen. For a small period of time, they can breathe oxygen, but is not their natural kind of breathing kind of method. What they need is their biomass to sustain them. For short periods of time, they can breathe oxygen. However, if severely injured or incapacitated, they will need a separate breathing apparatus, as seen in Predator 2, where Harrigan absolutely destroys the city hunter and it has to use a separate breathing apparatus to survive. Like in Predator 2, they're incredibly dexterous. Harrigan hit it with shotgun blasts and pistol blasts, and it still wasn't out for the count. They are incredibly strong, incredibly durable, which may actually also lend to something else, their longevity. In Predator 2, we see the greyback hand Harrigan the flintlock pistol from 1715, and we see that this predator has obviously engaged in combat back then. If you read the Dark Horse comic Golden Angel, you actually see that story. So one can guess that this predator is between maybe 3 to 400 years old. Also in Predators, Hanzo finds an Edo era katana and suggests the predators have been doing this for a very, very long time. So there is a longevity to this species. They've come to Earth on numerous occasions. In one Dark Horse comic, The Bloody Fields of Death, I think that's the one, they have predators fighting in World War One. And in another comic, Hell Comes a Walking, we have the predators engaging the northern and southern soldiers in the Civil War. Also, the first story I was talking about was Bloody Sands of Time, not the Bloody Fields of Death. Bloody Sands of Time is an awesome comic and shows what happens when a predator ends up engaged in battle in World War One. What else can we see about them? They're incredibly dexterous, they're incredibly great climbers. And even in Predator 2, you see a predator climb sheer rock. The city hunter climbs the clock tower in the center of Los Angeles with little to no trouble. So they're incredible jumpers, incredible climbers. The jungle hunter was able to hunt Dutch's team by using the trees. So maybe their home planet is a very jungle kind of tropical planet. Hinting also to that is they hunt in very hot locations. They prefer a tropical climate as opposed to the cold. Now, a lot of people reckon that AVP 2004 Screw the Pooch, that movie had them in the Arctic, but one could contest that the mesh that's connected to their armour, the kind of fishnet mesh that's covering their body, it's connected to their power pack. That power pack is charging that mesh and keeping the predator warm. It's keeping its body at an adequate temperature for that creature. Other aspects of the predator, their culture and society. You have a certain caste, such as elders. These are the top predators. These are the ones that are probably 400 to 6 to 7 to 800 years old, who have been through numerous battles and have led clans in maybe civil wars or massive hunts, be they for xenomorph or other species. These have an immense amount of respect in predator culture, and they can dictate what happens to the hunters if they fail to hunt or if they pass the hunt. You have elites like Wolf in AVPR who haven't quite reached the status of, say, an elder, but still have the respect and are given the kind of the authority to go to Earth or go to a planet and eradicate a problem caused by a predator clan. You can see in AVPR, Wolf has gotten major scarification and shows he's been around the block fighting aliens numerous times. So that just shows these guys are respected, almost like a kind of militaristic special forces unit in Predator society. Do females, where do females fit in to Predator society? They do exist, very much like shield maidens in Viking culture or Celtic women. They're maybe more homesteady than what you might expect. They do stay at home and keep the clan kind of youngsters and the sucklings, look after them, maybe look after agriculture or financial kind of aspects of the predators. They are, however, extremely good combatants. You have Big Mama in Chris Claremont's AVP, Deadliest of the Species. She goes after a clandestine military unit that killed her son. You have Sister Midnight in Darkness Witchblade, Alien vs. Predator, who is a predator who saves Sarah Panzani from xenomorphs and wields the Witchblade herself. So while they haven't got a lot of mention, one can kind of expect that, like the males, the female predators are able to deal as much damage as the males. Predators do live by a code, a very strict code, such as no killing of non-combatants, no killing of young children, no killing of pregnant women. Leona in Predator 2 is about to attack the predator, but he grabs her by the throat and is about to deliver the killing blow. But he's able to scan her with his infrared vision and sees she has a fetus, an unborn child, so he lets her go. Charles Bishop Wayland, he attacks a predator. The Scar Predator scans him and sees his lungs are infested with cancer and also lets him go. We have a lot of interesting aspects in predator society and culture that show them they're not marauding monsters. This code shows it that they're not just going, they won't go out and kill anything and everything. They have a code, and whether that's something that's tribal or just maybe something spiritual, there is a very spiritual kind of aspect to that as well. They do seem to show sorrow and remorse when the wolf finds his comrades dead in the ship in the forest in AVPR. He takes a moment to put his hand on the mask as maybe a sign of sorrow or respect for a fallen comrade. Again, these aren't monsters. These are warriors. These are tribal soldiers who have perfected themselves to a nth degree, but they're not monsters. Now, one could say there are monsters within the predator society, Hish or Bad Bloods, and these are maybe the super predators from Predators. These are much bigger, and one theory I have is that these guys are xenozip junkies, basically predators who've taken a xenomorph royal jelly and use it on themselves. In the comic Genocide, when humans take royal jelly, they become bigger, stronger, and more aggressive. So imagine what that would do to a regular predator. And if other predators saw a hunter doing this, would he be considered a cheater? Would he be considered a heretic for using something from Lacindrit aracha, which is a term for xenomorphs, hard meat? He is infecting his body with something that is unpure and making him an unpure hunter. The Bad Bloods have shown time and time again they are not adhering to the code. Whether it's shooting Noland point blank range with a plasma caster, even though he has a primitive axe, or stands when he's shot while the predator is cloaked. Another rule: predators don't usually use their projectile weapons while cloaked. He shoots stands while he's cloaked, in the back of all things. So these are not an honourable race of predators and have probably been ostracised, and that's probably why they're on that planet. Weapons. The weaponry of the predator is very interesting. You have a fantastic dichotomy of super advanced technology and a kind of very primitive tribal kind of set of weaponries. You have the wrist blades, a double-bladed gauntlet, which is the mainstay for a predator. Now, one thing you might notice is in Predator, the first Predator only had 2 weapons, and the second, in Predator 2, the City Hunter had more weaponry. Why is this? Well, the one that was hunting Dutch was a lot more experienced, while the City Hunter wasn't. He needed more equipment, he needed a more advantage. He was on an initiation, he was cutting his teeth, so to speak. That's why he had the extra weaponry of the disc, of the spear, of the net gun, on top of having the shoulder cannon and the wrist blades. The wrist blades themselves are fairly kind of simple. There are dual blades that are on the forearm that can be used as stabbing or for melee combat. In latter movies and in comics, they can be pumped and shot. I think both were seen in both AVP when Scar shoots it at the Queen Alien, and also in Predators when Isabel is shot by the Super Predator. The shoulder cannon, the plasma caster, the big bastarding gun which rides on the fucking Predator's shoulder. How does that work? Well, for the longest period of time, I thought it was fired via the gauntlet. It's actually not. It resides right next to the biohelmet. And so, if the gun is on the left-hand side, inside the helmet, there is a trigger that the left mandible will click. So, the Predator uses its mandibles to fire the plasma caster. The gauntlet itself can be used to charge up the shot, but the main way of firing is actually the tusk. The top tusk hits the trigger that's built into the helmet, and that's how the Predators fire the plasma caster. It does make sense that the weapon, by rights, should be able to be used without the biohelmet. Would you really want a superheated ball of plasma fired right next to your face? However, in some comics it's been depicted that it can be fired from the gauntlet, but not at an insane rate. Other weapons, the telescopic spear can be used for melee and can be used as throwing. It was interesting to see that how such a primitive weapon was used to dispatch Keyes' advanced team. Keyes went into the slaughterhouse hunting the City Hunter and ended up basically getting slaughtered. And it didn't use any of its advanced weapons, it just used its spear, and it shows that even a semi-skilled predator such as the Youngblood, such as the City Hunter, was able to dispatch Keyes' men with ease thanks to such a primitive weapon. Nets, even something as simple as the net, the Predators have made lethal to the nth degree. Then the net itself, whatever kind of material it is, it cuts into the flesh of the target, it even cuts through guns or pieces of equipment. Sebastian tried to free one of the mercenaries in AVP with a knife, and it broke his knife. So the dichotomy of something using something as simple as a net, but its technology is so advanced that that's how it works. It's a net, but it's a predator net. It's vicious. It's designed to ensnare prey and keep it ensnared till the predator can deliver the finishing blow. You have other things like the disc. I prefer the disc to the shuriken. I don't think the shuriken is as practical as the disc, because the disc works better as a melee weapon, and I think it really shows that like the Youngblood, the City Hunter, is just he's just getting he's cutting his teeth, and he's using all these weapons to the full advantage. Their cloaking device. One theory on the cloaking device is that it's a projector. It's actually a projector built into the power pack that gives an almost invisible kind of screen in front of the Predator. The only thing is the computer isn't advanced enough. So if the Predator moves, it takes time for the computer to catch up. So that's why you can kind of see the Predator's outline if it moves too much. Again, this species is amazing. I think there's so much in the lore, in Dark Horse comics, in the Millennium the Millennium novels that were released in the 90s. I think Titan are re-releasing them. In the video games, if you get a chance, check Concrete Jungle, which stars this bad bastard. It's so cool, and I really hope that the Predator doesn't do away with all this rich lore. Again, like the Xenomorph, they're a mystery, but they've such a heady mixture of backstory from comics and video games and novels that it would just be a waste to get rid of it. So guys, I'm also thinking of doing a Predator tag. If you're interested in that, leave your comments below. What's your thoughts? Would you be interested in doing a Predator tag? And if you've any questions about any of the stuff I'm talking about, leave them in the comments below. I would really look forward to chatting to people about the Predator, their thoughts on the Predator, and their thoughts on the expanded universe of the Predator. If you have any questions about the comics or video games, just leave them in the comments below. My name's Martin, and yeah, have a good one. Take care. Bye now.